have dreamed of talking about not even 3 months ago. But because the people are the ones that discuss what they want to discuss and bring whatever they want to bring onto this forum, it's very, very hard to ignore the people. If it was just me, the presenter, or just Mystery Man, the presenter, or just Mr. T, the presenter, then it would be easy to say, look, that's a man's personal attitude or belief. So, we don't need to really take that on board. Or that's just a man, that's just friends talking amongst themselves. So we don't need to really take that on board. Then we could understand, maybe. But this is the whole point of this format. 0795 777 5477. This is the whole point of this format. That the people can say what they have to say. The people can make their views be known. The people can bring to the attention of the wider community any issues that need to be discussed that will be affecting the wider community. For example, Iran, again, England and America talking about going in there, teaching my boy a lesson. If anyone's been listening to the media this week, particularly BBC Radio 4, the talk shows, blah, 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 what they call these, I don't know what they call them, but, these type of shows that inform the wider community on these kind of issues. There seems to be a lot of concern amongst the white population of England, a lot of concern, that this man could strike England any time. Doesn't even have to send a plane, could already have whatever here already. See? This discussion, this is the kind of talk that's been going on. Maybe we haven't heard it, but I'm telling you, this is the kind of talks that people has been talking. How does this affect us? Because, black people, I don't know, we've no one could really say that we here as black people are terrorists. Have been blowing up places, or, I've got large catchments of tools to go out and fight with the army or the police or whatever. No, we've never been, no one could say that they know us like that. Now maybe you all know different. If you do, tell me. They could say that they know us, in terms of the other day, Cold Harbour Lane, somewhere over there, Dalberg Road, in fact. A youth was standing up and he got blasted in his stomach and in his head by two men that were the same race as him, put it that way. Blasted him. And his girlfriend got shot in her foot, I believe. So if anyone comes and says, yep, you'll say, yeah, well, that's typical black people. Sad fact, but we could say, yeah, that's typical black people. But we are not known, really, for going down to the Isle of Dogs and blowing up that building, or going over to, we're not known for them things there. Yet, we're sitting down here in this country, where the leaders of this country are going around the world policing. I wonder if we realize what situation we're in. Because you're going to get some people, that's going to say, number one, this nuclear bomb business is a joke, right? What these people is, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's one big joke. But number two, the bigger joke. How am I going to have a bomb and tell you can't make one? There's got to be some balance somewhere. Maybe us, we are going to have to kind of be more positive. I don't know whether it's going to be politically positive or community positive. But there's things going on all around us, all around our heads that involve us, that have consequences for us. We can't sit down and go on like we're an entity within an entity, you know. We're not. If a man tomorrow decides he wants to come here and do havoc, cause mayhem, like how we saw last month in Africa, where do we stand? Where does the black community stand? Or in those kind of times do we just see it as, boy, well, tragedy is tragedy, so everyone just comes together and deals with it? If me and you was in the playground, you know, let's take ourselves back, cast our brain back a bit to our school days. For some of us, that's for those that's left school. For those that's still in school, or for those that's at college, imagine you're in a college classroom and you see a man going to pick a fight with another man. Nothing to do with you. But the two of them want to fight over your head. You're sitting at your desk and one standing on your left or one standing on your right, and they want to fling blows at each other and fling kicks at each other. Eventually, what's going to happen? If you don't move, what's going to happen? One of them thump, they must catch you. One of them kick must catch you. One of them blows must catch you. Or you're going to stand up and say, here what, you all don't fight over me. If you want to do that, you go about your business and do that. That's because we have the opportunity in that kind of setting to do it. What opportunity do we have now? This is when you talk about people being led, you know, and people coming like sheep. People are sitting down. A handful of men and women are creating war. On the high road, on the low road, you name it. And the majority, the mass, are sitting down and just saying nothing. Just letting it happen. Good morning, you're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Blessed love. Yeah, Commissioner.
Yeah, Bridget, turn your radio down a bit.
Yeah.
Yo.
This one you need to tell the people, blood. You need to tell the black people in Britain that they need to save every cent they can save between now and the 1st of January 1999. They need to gather their kids, their grandkids, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, yeah, and they need to make their way home to Africa. That's the only way that we're going to survive this Armageddon here. You know what I'm saying? This is what you really need to be. You know what I mean? All these things about Iraq and all of them, them things is prophesied, they must come true. You know what I'm saying? Or heaven and earth will pass away. What we need to do, we need to line up ourselves. You go down to the nearest truck dealer, you buy yourself a second-hand lorry,
Yep.
all right?
Yep.
You stack it up with all the necessary. You don't want to bring the bed and the fridge and the microwave and them things. You want to bring things like farming equipment, you know what I'm saying? Things to turn over the soil.
Okay.
Yeah?
So, my brother, where are we going? Because
we're going home to the land of our fathers, bro. We're going home where we're from. You know what I mean? Where they took us away in the bellies of ships in chains.
Okay.
Dispersed us across the four corners of the earth, even the islands of the sea.
Okay, brother. But you know, right, that there's people out there that would say, oh, people like you and me have got this thing about let's go Africa, let's go Africa. But be realistic. How are you going to do it? If you're going to go out there, if 100,000 of us is going to get up and go out there to go and farm, is that going to work?
Well, at the end of the day, bro, I don't know if you've been to Africa, but all the white people in Europe is running to Africa, ain't they?
That's right. That's right.
The point I'm making is the soil is rich, you know what I'm saying? We have the sunshine out there, bro, which is one of the greatest natural resources the world can provide, you know what I'm saying? When we go there and overturn the soil, all right, and we build up our own little communities and stuff like that, you know what I mean? We know that we might be vulnerable in certain retrospect to what's going on in Africa.
Yeah.
But what's going on in Africa is man-made, you know what I mean? It's geopolitical, it's built in. The point I'm making is we have to disperse out of Europe. Europe is doomed, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you know that the 1st of January 1999, they're going to bring in The euro, right across Europe, right?
Yep.
England, well, the UK will not be involved, right? Well, we already know that they're going to sabotage the pound. The value of the pound is going to drop out the bottom.
That's right.
It's going to go way down.
That's right.
Right. When I say way down, it's going to happen overnight before anybody can do anything about it. The value of your homes, the value of whatever you own, is going to deplete by percentages. You know what I mean? By 60-70%.
Tell me something, my brother. Right? I really want to know, and I want people to hear clearly what you're saying, because years and years ago, personally, I've been saying, I used to say, look, I'm not buying a house in this country because tomorrow the government can turn around and change their mind and you don't own that house after you've paid mortgage for 30, 40 years. See, now you're saying the same thing, but the way you put it now is like what we've seen in the Middle East, again, where they've been practicing destroying economies and bringing down the value of people's currency, and you're saying that it's going to come here.
Yeah, because what it is, right, the government, the Labour government we've got in now, they're in league with the powers to be in Brussels, right? They want to bring in euro, right? They always did. But they need to put themselves on a neutral position because, you know what I mean, because the monarchy itself, you know what I mean, the House of Windsor is against that, you know what I mean, because it's taking away her power. You get what I'm saying? Now, what's going on is, as you can see with what they call themselves, Democrat, or what they call themselves, that Paddy Ashdown.
Oh, the Liberal Democrats.
Right, Liberal Democrats, right? Yeah. They've been saying, well, everybody's crying about euro. The Tories is against it because they losing their power base if Europe becomes it. Because as you can tell, you've probably traveled around the world. You see that England, even though it's got the strongest money in the world, it's really artificial, the strength that they've got. You know what I mean? It comes from right, because they're really a backward country. You can tell by when you get in the supermarkets. You can tell by trying to do average commerce in this business in this country. They don't even have the you know what I mean? They don't even know about business or how to do business. They practice robbing the public, you know what I mean?
Well, because you see, again, just to back up what you're saying, Bridget, that's why, like, even Brazil is exporting enough things. England, the biggest export England has is war, is guns, and is technology in mass destruction, and is science in developing, you know, germ warfare and all of these things. That's all England on a mass. Forget the cows and all of them things, but on a mass scale, that's what they're exporting. My brother, you sound like you're gone. Try and catch us again. That's on the 0795-777-5477. Did you hear what the brother was saying? The only thing that you should be telling black people, Commissioner, is that they got to go. He gave us a date. Was it June 99? He said we got to go. We got to get up and go. They're going to crash the pound. The pound right now doesn't want to be a part of this euro business. The House of Windsor is fighting because they're trying to take away England's power. They're trying to take away England's authority and make it all come under the umbrella of one Europe. Do we know? You know, this is a classic example. Here again, we have a situation where we're sitting down at a table and people is warring over our heads, and we're just sitting there, oblivious to the war. Good morning, caller. You're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Yeah, Commissioner, I think that's on your phone line anyway. You know what I mean? We know the powers that be meddling around with your phones all the time.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, yeah, you know what I mean? There's a whole heap of problems, and we know what the problem is, you know what I mean? We read the Committee of 300 that was written by one of their secret agents. We even seen the guy from MI5 that went public the other day with certain things about they're trying to kill Gaddafi and all these things. We know they're corrupt to the core, bro, you know what I mean? They've been doing it to our people. They've done it to the Asian man. They've done it to every race of people. They even done it to their own people when they sent their children to Australia to develop their colony, you know what I mean? We know who these people and what they're capable of. What I'm saying is that's the problem. I'm going to tell you what the solution is.
Okay, what's the solution?
The solution is go to the nearest, you know what I mean? You save every cent. Forget about Christmas. That's a folly. That's a joke, you know what I mean? Save every cent you can save, because now the money that, you know what I mean, before 2000 with the Millennium Meltdown, that will happen.
Yes.
Even though they're trying to give you guarantees that, oh yeah, our computers can go, it has to happen because it's forecast. That's how they're going to bring in the microchip. You know what I mean? That's how they're going to inject it into you to an epidermic needle where they can trace you on satellite to within inches of where you are. Anywhere you go, they can use that to make you have kids or not. You're gonna have to apply for everything. That's how you're gonna spend money. You know what I mean? Insure your car, pay insurance.
So then, by leaving this country, will we escape that?
Well, what I'm saying is, remember, every civilization is based upon where you can feed yourself. That's the first and foremost thing. If you can't feed yourself, if you have to rely on them to feed you, then you're going to bow. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You will bow. There's no way about it, because a father is not going to see his child hungry. And
you see that situation there, you would have thought, brethren, that we would have learned, because I'm sure the majority of us here have watched Roots. And I'm going to bring it down just to that root. Just remember that?
Right.
Right?
Of course.
And on Roots, remember there was one part when they showed you how even when the so-called slaves was given their freedom, when the chains was taken off of them, they still worked the land. And they
it's called sharecropping, yeah.
Okay. But because they didn't control their own food, whatever they earned, they still had to go back to the slave master's shop.
Right, and that's how, if you check history like I do, I'm a studier, you know what I mean? I try to be a scholar at all times, never teach about a scholar. That means I'm always learning, you know what I mean? Right? In the 1930s, when you had the influx of Indians, you know what I mean, to the Caribbean, it was because of that, the uproar over the land in the 1930s, when they uproored it right across the Caribbean, you know what I mean? They brought in the Indians as indentured servants. That's how you got Pakistanis and Indians, Punjabis in the Caribbean today.
They used to be called coolies.
Yeah, coolies. I mean, coolie basically was an Asian indentured servant, which was basically, the terminology came actually from the Chinese originally.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, the Chinese indentured servants was called coolies.
Okay.
Right, and they were brought into Africa as well through Uganda and these places to work on the railroad, and they were called. That's where the terminology actually came from. But back to the you know what I mean, not to stray from the point itself. You know what I mean? Even sharecropping with President Andrew Johnson, which, you know what I mean, when they did Reconstruction in the United States, 40 acres and a mule to every black man, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But they reneged on that, because that was power. Owning the land was power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they realized.
To control the food, like you say, they know black man love his belly, you know what I mean?
That's right. So then now, okay, the solution, because you was telling me the solution.
Right, the solution is, you need to save every cent you can from now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you own your home, sell it. You get what I'm saying to you? You go to the nearest, now, to go and buy a plane ticket, right, and head for, and fly into Africa. You won't be able to bring in the natural. You need to bring in, because Africa is devoid of amenities, you know what I mean?
Okay.
You need to bring stuff to turn over the land. You need to bring stuff to weave your own cloth. Machinery to sew your own clothing, you know what I mean? Machinery
Bridging.
Yeah.
Which part of Africa? Because, you know, I don't want people to be under this kind of illusion, right? That Africa hasn't got things. You know what I mean? Because I would always tell a man, when I went to South Africa, I saw a road in South Africa that made Oxford Street look like a ghetto.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So,
but what I'm saying is, by running into South Africa was developed by the European. If you're talking about roads and those sort of things, that's not really development, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that basically that encourages cars, which destroys Mother Earth, you know what I mean? We need to go back to basics. Our forefathers used to live.
Horses and bikes. I've always maintained, you know, that me personally in Africa, horse and bike. You know, the car
That's
business
right.
it's not
It's a
beneficial.
joke. It destroys anything that destroys the earth, you know what I mean, destroys our children's future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have to live like our forefathers used to live. They used to plant trees that would not bear fruit for 50 or 60 years because they were planting that for their children, you know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is, if you're not doing it for the sake of yourself, do it for the sake of your children,
So
man.
do you honestly think though that people are going to be prepared, right, after living in this kind of society, having all of the traps and the trimmings of this society, and you think people is going to be ready? Imagine I'm a business consultant, okay? I've got my business. I drive a Mercs. I live in a Chris house. I've got everything around me. You're honestly looking at me and telling me sell everything and come out?
Blood, what I'm saying to you is, yeah, I grew up in the United States throughout my entire teenage years, right? When I was 16 years old, I was sitting down on $250,000 US. I know what money is. I know what it is to drive a Mercs, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm now talking to you at the age, I'm 27 years old.
Yeah.
This ain't an old man talking to you, bro.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I know what it is to have, that's nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What's life is to have your children around you and have happiness, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And if there's no security in that, but that can be taken away from you with the snap of a finger. You get what I'm saying to you? Right now, you want to think about our children. Our lives is like basically been wasted, you know what I mean? Wasted in this land, you know what I mean? What we want to do, we want to secure a future for our children, you know what I mean? My youngest, he just turned 1 year old, you know what I mean? I love him with all my heart, and I'm willing to sacrifice my life, you know what I mean, to make sure that his children don't have to go through what I've been through.
Yes, right. That's right. Well, I feel the same way, but I hear that and I see that, but in the manifestation, the physical manifestation of it, my brother, I don't see it, you know, because I'm sure you've heard us say before, how comes the African leaders haven't come together and said to us, look,
well, that's not correct still, you know, Commissioner, because I think the president of Ghana, what's his name, Rollins, they've given land, right, with all the chiefs. They came together and given land that's larger than the size of England.
All right, but that's
right?
one. But that's one. I think there's two presidents. All right, that I can call, or two countries in Africa that I can recall and say, yep, they have come out up front and said, come back home, and that was Ghana. Even Rawlins is just continuing a tradition from the days of Nkrumah. Okay, because he had that policy from then. And the other place, obviously, is Ethiopia. Maybe if more people.
No, it's Ethiopia actually. Ethiopia actually, with this new government they've got in, has become one of the biggest. Well, you know that they're basically dictated to by Rome. You know what I mean?
Yes.
By the Vatican, and their policy is you need to come and put 100 grand in the bank. Right, 100,000 US, I think it is, before you were even given residency. And talk about Ethiopian citizenship, you'll never have that. You know what I mean?
Hold on, does that include Shashamani?
Shashamani has been taken away. It's been depleted to less than 2.5 acres. All that His Majesty has done.
Whoa. Rewind. Say that again, please.
Shashamani has been depleted. Right now, you can tell. Right now, a lot of Rastas that went to Ethiopia are being forced into jail. All their properties that they brought there. Like I know one guy that brought his entire studio, a studio that cost hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
All the equipment he had, and they locked him up. And the same army officials that locked him up, they stole all his equipment and distributed it amongst themselves. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, Ethiopia has become very corrupt. Ethiopia is still the promised land, but you know what I mean? Africa needs a revolution itself. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. So you see what happened to them now on the land, on Shasha. All right. What's to say that that's not going to happen to all of us if we get up tomorrow and go out there with everything that we bring out to the country? What's to say? You know?
The point I'm making is that what happened to them, you know what I mean, is still external forces that created that sphere, you know what I mean? You drive a Merc, yeah? How many times have you been pulled over because you're driving a Merc?
Every day.
Alright, the point I'm making is you won't be pulled over there. for driving a Merc because of the color of your skin. It will be something else that created that. That's a start at least. Africa is rich, bruv. Africa is. I've got. You probably know of Hamlock, innit?
Hamlock.
Hamlock, yeah. This Rasta guy that was here. He went to Ghana. He was crowned king. He met Well, Hamlock came back here the other day during His Majesty's birthday. He came and gave a speech. Yeah, the man came back. The man went to Africa. You know what I mean? Had a regular change. He came back with diamonds and golds of mass proportion. The man is you know what I mean? He's ruling land that's bigger than the entire United Kingdom, you know what I mean?
For real.
This man, on this land is rich with diamond, golds and all various sort of things. And his message is, just take what you got and come home. You know what I mean?
Take what you got and come home.
Just take what you got and come home. You know what I mean? It's not that because you can go to Africa, you can have 7, 8, 9 wives. You know what I mean? All of them virgins and all these great things. You get the nice soil, good fresh food. That's just, you know what I mean? The fringe benefits.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is this is the land of our fathers. You know what I mean? And it's been prophesied. We also can't lean on our own understanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to lean upon the understanding of the prophets as well. You know what I mean?
Okay. What about the poor people, my brother? Again, look at me, right? I haven't got 2 pence to rub together. I've got holes in the bottom of my shoes. I don't know where my next meal's coming from. What about me? How am I going to get out? You're falling out, my brother. If you'd like to phone us again, and we'll keep that conversation going. But that's the question. Okay, we can go. You know, if you got your house, you got this, you got that, you could sell up and go. But what about me? I'm a poor man. I haven't got nothing. You know what I mean? I haven't even got bus fare, much less plane ticket to go Africa. How am I going to do it? 0795 777 5477. My brother, thank you for that call there. You was on the phone long, your phone twice, and you reason enough sense. How do you all feel about that? Huh? You hear what my brother said? Maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time just to get up and get out of here. With war looming over our heads, continuously. This thing in Iraq has been going on now, well, longer than 8 years, but for the last 8 years, there's been sanctions against this country. We all know it, it's been in our face continually. Let's take one idea. Hypothetical. Oil, sometimes known as black gold. There's an oil organization called OPEC that says a barrel of oil should sell for not less than $15 US on the open market. Iran and places like Iran that are oil rich have been overproducing, so it's called overproducing, millions of barrels every day. Now, the West has a surplus of 16 billion barrels of oil sitting down. And Iran and places like Iran have been producing what these people say overproducing oil and flooding the market, excuse the pun. Oil has gone down to $11 a barrel. Now, hypothetically, if I go to the source of the overproduction of oil and blow up your oil wells, the price of oil is going to go back up. From since someone said, let's go and beat up that man over there, the price of oil went up. Is it coincidence? Look at Nigeria. Oil. $15 a day, a barrel. Nigeria is capable of producing over 3 million barrels of oil every single day. People are dying. government is changing. There's conflict in the place. Does it seem like a coincidence? Good afternoon, caller. You're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Yes, Commissioner. Me again, you know what I mean?
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, I keep calling back. You keep saying calls are not currently being connected.
Safe, man.
Number.
I can talk to you. Oh, you keep calling and it's saying calls are not being connected.
To this number, yeah.
Really?
So I don't know what's going on, bruv. This has never ever happened to my phone before. Calling out. But anyway, we already know, you know what I mean? Yeah, they got new software in the mobile phones these days that they can do basically anything with it.
Anything they want, for real. So did you hear what I was saying about the oil?
Yeah.
And the relation of the oil and you know, the relation on a world scale level.
Well, we got to see the oil, and you know what I mean. You know that oil is basically a prehistoric technology. There's technology now with cleaner burning fuel.
That's right.
That's been about for the longest. Even you know that a lot of people don't even know this, right? People like Greenpeace and all these eco warrior organization, all that. They're actually funded by the oil companies, bro. You know what I mean?
What?
The oil companies fund these, you see what I'm saying? There's certain
so what's the logic behind that?
Pardon?
What is the logic behind the oil companies?
Because it's simple. Because what it is they need to create a sphere, right, wherein people is not able to go about and utilize new technology. You know what I mean? They need to keep themselves in power, burning these fuel. Because remember, they've got a secret agenda. Destruction of Mother Earth, that's what they're all about, you know what I mean? Or they wouldn't be doing these silly things, you know what I mean? Okay. Remember, if you read Revelation and you read it, you know what I mean, with insight, it says that the earth shall be destroyed by fire, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And you know that you never see smoke without fire. This smoke that you're seeing, the smog and the pollution, all of that, which is a smoke, that's the fire that's burning. The fire been burning, bro, but people don't even see it. You know what I mean? That's the destruction of the earth, you know what I mean?
Okay. So then I asked a question just before we lost you. I asked a question. I've got holes in my shoes. I like that question, really. Yeah. What I'm saying to you is the land is rich. The land is rich, man. I know man that's been to Africa, you know what I mean, just been there on a little couple £100 holiday, and he comes back with a nice piece of diamond, a nice piece of gold. But how am I going to get there? I ain't even got bus fare to get in a 36 bus brethren to go down the road.
Well, you remember that guy H. Campbell in the 1970s that he walked from England to Africa, and he was arrested in the Sudan where they gave him 1 year and 6 months in prison for not having a visa. Right? I mean, you know that if you really want to get there, you will get there. You know what I mean?
So hold on. Do you think that sounds good enough? There's me and my family, man, and we're broke. How are we gonna get there? You're gonna get, my brother. Sorry, you will kind of bear with us. 0795 777 5477. Give me some calls, man, because you hear what the brother said when he phones the line saying that this number is not taking calls, but you can hear me loud and clear. You just heard my brethren phone in. Third time. 0795 777 5477. How are we gonna get there? No money, no job, nothing. And furthermore, because we don't want to switch it too far, we started off with here, the problem being here. War is looming in the midst. It's been looming for the last 8 years, and it's still looming. It seems there's theories are flying around, you know. There's a theory that it's all over the price of oil. Seen? There's a theory that it's all over getting rid of this madman who's worse than Hitler. Good afternoon, you're tuned to Genesis.
Commissioner?
Yo.
Same, big fear.
Yeah,
it's true saying it's hard to get through, you know.
Huh?
It's true saying it's hard to get through. Every time this answer machine keeps coming on.
For real? That's what I need to know, my brethren. How?
Yeah.
You know, I'm broke. I ain't got a job or nothing. How am I gonna get there?
No, I'm not talking about the answer machine on the phone.
Okay, it's hard
Yeah,
to
yeah.
through.
What I found out for is, I'm going to talk about war now, yeah?
Yeah.
Long time ago, when Jav was doing the talk show, I mentioned just fear brings respect.
Turn down your radio, Pixie.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, clear.
See, you can hear me clear now. Yeah, long time ago when Jav was doing the talk show, yeah?
Yeah.
I mentioned this issue, I go, does fear bring respect?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? When I say fear, I mean like, if Africa had a load of nuclear bomb, would they get respect from the Western world?
I don't know. Because, well, this is the whole thing with this Sudan, isn't it? They're stopping him from getting the bombs.
That's right. But you see, Saddam Hussein now, because they don't really know what he's got as such. And obviously, I think they're for the public. I believe Saddam Hussein definitely got a nuclear bomb, because if he really had a nuclear bomb, they would have rushed him a long time ago. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They would have rushed him a long time. And this war business, I'll tell you something, I was watching the tape the other day, Steve, Farrakhan, yeah? And this is a long time tape before the Gulf War started.
Okay.
And Farrakhan went out and saw Saddam Hussein. This is what Farrakhan said. And he told Saddam Hussein, look, I don't want this war to go on.
Yes.
So Saddam Hussein said, boy, this war has to go on. He said, why do you want the war to go on? He said, because I don't want to see my brothers killing your brothers. You know, because my brothers being made, basically talk about the black soldiers and killing their brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, going out there and killing their brothers.
What was the answer that he got?
Well, Saddam Hussein said, well, this war has to go on. And he said, do you know that, remember when they caught a lot of troops and all that, and they showed up on TV and they would look really scared, like they were dictating to say things like, I don't want this war to go on. You can see the fear in their faces.
Yeah.
And those all soldiers and everything, right? Do you know that Saddam Hussein caught a lot of black soldiers and beat them and sent them home in the desert naked and said, go on, this war has nothing to do with you. Go home.
Really?
Yes.
Well, good.
You understand what I'm saying? And I said, yeah, for me, that's good. For me.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, beat them and send them home naked. I said, go on, this war has nothing to do with you.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Well then, Big T, what about us? Because we're here, right?
Seeing.
What happens now if my boy decides he's coming to England and he's coming to America and he's going to...
Let me tell you something. He's going to come, full stop.
He's gonna
I'm telling you, he's going to come. And as what the man said to you, we're going to be caught up in it. There's no two way about it. It's definitely going to come. And I'll tell you something, me personally, if someone's troubling me like that, any war, the innocent must suffer.
Yeah.
Simple. I'm telling you, the innocent have to suffer. You see what I'm saying? You know what they're saying, they're war. I mean, if you see what they do to Kuwait, then you'd understand why when I remember I said the innocent have to suffer.
Okay.
And I'm prepared now to suffer. You see what I'm dealing with?
I hear that.
Yeah?
Hear that. So then how far then must we go, like, to kind of, our children, man?
Seeing. I understand what you're saying. It's for us, because you see us young generation, we're by ourselves now. We're running to each corner. We're like in the box room, just running to each corner. You see what I'm saying? And the older ones are like, say, come here, man. The older ones are like, basically, want things from us.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? We understand it. We're by ourselves. I tell you honestly, truth, the only way we can do it is to come out of it. Get out of the way.
For real, I hear that.
That's the only way I can see it, is to get out of the way. But I'm telling you now, it's definitely gonna happen.
Right,
definitely. You're gonna see terrorists bombing here and there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's payback time now.
And the IRA's been doing it already, so you know what I mean? Another man's gonna feel say, well, I can do it.
Sorry, Commissioner, there's an Irish but I was talking to the other day, because I don't understand what's going on in Ireland. I said to him, what is this Orange March all about? You know what the Orange March is about?
What?
You know what it is? It's celebrating. They're celebrating when they whip their arse. That's what it is. When they whip their arse, they march down that road in them days. So what they want to do, they want to keep up that tradition.
What, when they whip the British?
Yeah, when the British whip them, whip the Irish, the original Irish, yeah?
Yes.
And what happens is they march up with that. It's just like, imagine them in slavery days, they want to march into Africa to celebrate, you understand, didn't you, what they've done.
And if they want to come
that's what Orange March is all about.
And so that's like now the National Front marching down Newsom.
Right, you understand? They want to celebrate their achievement of whipping people, you understand what I'm dealing with? So when I heard that, I said, my God, you know what I'm saying? They're feisty. You know what I'm saying? They're feisty, you know?
So...
And the soldiers, they're saying, okay, in Ireland, saying, okay, listen, you can have this march, but you have to march in certain places. But the original Irish said, no, they don't want that. They don't want the march, full stop.
For real,
and I don't blame them.
I wouldn't want that, big.
No way.
I mean, remember what happened the last time Was it 70 something when the National Front tried to march through Lewisham?
Yes.
They got their backside bumped.
That's right. You understand?
Well, so at the end of the day, we've got to move out of the way.
Just move out of the way.
Because it's definitely coming.
Yeah, definite. I'm telling you now, it's definitely coming.
Okay, big.
You see what I'm saying, yeah?
Okay, my brother.
Okay.
Enough respect for
All right, man.
You take care.
Alright.
0795 777 5477. Did you all hear? We should just move out of the way. You've heard two different opinions there, you know, but very, very, very similar. See? One saying, boy, just get out, you know. Just go Africa. Get out of it. Set everything you got. Get tools. Don't take your video and your TV and your fridge. Take equipment so you can work the land. We've got to get back to living like how our forefathers used to live. Our 4 used to live. See? That's one opinion. You hear Big T there saying, boy, did you see the Saddam business? It's coming at some stage. Now, really, really, really. All right. Sit down, man. Look at the situation and weigh it up. We've all got common sense. You weigh it up for yourself. Do you think it's coming? You see from where I'm sitting, it looks like it's coming. But on the other hand, I would like to remind people, you know, especially when you're talking about, you see when my brother was talking about the mark that's coming and everything is going to change, the pound is going to crash, the euro is going to come in, England's power is going to go, all authority will be handed over to Brussels for the millennium. I like to throw this in. The rest of the world put themselves 7 years ahead of Ethiopia. So right now, we'd be in 1991. When is the millennium? When is this year 2000? Is that all a con? Is it just, you know, to get the masses? Because we know, you know, you all must know by now, governments thrive by controlling the masses. Mainstream media is all about control. The Guardian, the Sun, the Mirror, the Financial Times, the Independent, the Daily Mail, the Voice, the Nation, the Gleaner, the Caribbean Times, you name it. It's about population control. Huh? How comes we're allowing ourselves to be controlled? How comes we're allowing ourselves to be fed lies? Lie upon lie upon lie. And it seems it's not just, when, you know, I'm telling you us, it's not just us here in London, England, or Europe. It seems to be international. It seems to be on a worldwide scale. We are allowing ourselves to be manipulated, to be controlled. We're being fed, spoon-fed, lies. We're being spoon-fed. Look at the policies that the government's putting through now. Children are in jail. Did you hear what I said? This is a civilization. Children are in jails right now as we speak. Okay. Let's weigh it up. I heard the brother said, boy, you know what? Okay, there's going to be difficulties there in Africa, but it's better to face them than face these ones here. Let's weigh it up. Good afternoon, caller. You're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Yo, Commissioner, I just got a quick thing to say. Like, the DTI are messing about with the phone line.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right, blood?
All right, one love.
Peace.
More reason why you all should phone, you know. and don't give these people opportunities. 0795 777 5477. People's Talk Show. It's your time. You all have an opportunity where you can express your views, where there is no manipulation, where whatever you feel to say, as long as you're not cussing, you can say. And these boys have got time to mess around on the phone lines. Well, maybe it's time for us to be silent and just do what you got to do. Maybe it's time for all of the talk to stop and you just do what you have to do. Look at this. Here in England, you will soon have to pay proper for your child's education. Did you hear? Children are in jail today. If I want to control someone, if I want to put in a new law, if tomorrow I want my police to be armed, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set a whole heap of bad man out on the street with guns, make them cause chaos until everyone says the police should have guns. Good afternoon, you're tuned to Genesis Radio.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Yes.
That man did not talk to me before, man. I want to come back with some information.
You want to come back with some information?
Yeah.
Okay, my brother. I know he's listening.
Yeah, I'm not tuning out the right, man. See?
Okay.
Respect, yeah?
Yeah, big up.
All right.
Did you hear that, my brother, out there? You got callers saying they want you to phone back in, you know. They want to hear more. See? Because they love the talk that you talk. They want to hear more. Well, if you can afford it, my brethren, feel free. I'm sorry, I'm only sorry that I can't make the call to you. But if you can afford it, you know, this is what it's about. It's your show. It's the People's Talk Show. Whatever you all want to bring to our attention, bring it. But for the moment, I'm on this. For the moment. We know what's going on. We can see what's happening in our community. We've got eyes, we've got ears, we've got a mouth. We're not stupid, we've got a brain. We can see what's coming, you know. Even the atheist today can see certain signs. And that's saying a lot. Maybe it's time for us just to get up and go, you know. But what about me? I'm poor, man. All of you lot can do it. Because you got dollars. I haven't got nothing. I don't know no one in Africa. I don't know no one, maybe it's the Caribbean. If I go to the Caribbean, good afternoon, caller. You're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Yeah, Commissioner, blessed love again.
Yeah,
alright? I call back because I feel like people want to hear what I got to say.
Big up. Okay, let's go.
Alright, continuing on what we was talking about. I'm telling you now, I'm talking fast 'cause I got a league match today, bro. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be actually on my way to the football match, but sometimes you have to talk to your people, you know what I mean?
For real?
Yeah, I'm an English youth still, yeah, but you know what? When I say English youth, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean? I'd rather use a different word still, because a black man can't be English, you know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. There's no such thing as a black British.
No.
You know?
No, it is what your parents is, bruv, you know what I mean? And they said, well, my parents from Jamaica, but my parents really from Africa, isn't it?
That's
if you
right.
check it out.
Well, I still want you to answer my question, my brother. I'm poor. Me and my family is broke pocket. How are we going to get to Africa?
See, only one thing I can say to you, right? Marcus Garvey, during the 1930s, he was making provisions for, because black people in majority was broke, you know what I mean? He built an organization of 35 million people. That's the largest organization of any, to this day, nobody has surpassed that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To have that amount of numbers. He had grassroots members of 35 million and associate members of up to 100 million. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And he still had his bag of wire to betray him and sell him out. He was trying to have a shipping company, a fleet of ships. So any man who want to come, he just come on board, he eat and all of that. We get back. I think Liberia was where he's trying to get them to.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But we obviously now, because you gave us a date, right? I'm sure you gave us a date.
You have to start the program. Everything starts small, but remember, you're running out of time.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You gave us a date to say, look, I would advise everyone by this date in 1999, they go. What was the date?
Well, it's the 1st of January 19. What is going to happen is the bottom of the pound is going to drop overnight. It's not going to be anything we can do about it.
Okay.
The value of the pound is going to be like the Jamaican money now. Or, you know what I mean, some monies in Africa is going to value nothing because, remember, the government is in league with it. The Bank of England is in league with it. Everybody's down with it to make sure that we go in with the euro because that's the only way the beast is going to have his power, you know what I mean? It's one world government, you know what I mean?
Okay.
By federalizing everything, have a European central bank right there in Brussels to dictate to the people, you know what I mean? So whenever they come up with a scheme and say, okay, there'll be no more paper money no more. It's going to be the microchip. We're going to have electronic money. Wherein you come to the shop, we scan you.
That's right.
Right? You take 30 credits off the amount of credits you've got for your milk or your little bottle of water. When you go to the petrol station, they say, I mean, they've already started that. You know what I mean? You got people that go around to this day, they don't spend paper money, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you pay your insurance, that's how you pay your rent, that's how everything is done. Now, what I'm saying is, for us to support, because, you know what I mean, it's been prophesied, there's going to be millions of us going to go down with the beast, you know what I mean?
And you know what? And plus, you know, my brother, even on top of that, what we're discussing, we haven't even talked about this thing yet, the Millennium Bug, the computer bug.
That's what the Millennium Bug is about, isn't it?
Okay.
So when the Millennium Bug kicks in, the government's going to pull off a major fraud.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they're going to say, they're going to pull off the fraud, and they're going to say the only way for us to fix it, we're going to take away this kind of money. This is how we're going to do money now. Right?
Okay.
You're going to have to come in and take and they're going to give it to you through an epidermic needle because microchip is so small you have to see it under a microscope, and it holds 9 billion pieces of information in 9 categories as well, which is criminal record, birth record, health, financial, all of that aspect, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be like you're driving down the road now, you get pulled over by old Bill, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to ask you anything again. He's just going to take your hand and scan you. And all your information start reading out on the computer in his car. He can tell you when you were born, last time you was arrested, everything. You know what I mean?
And we got news, and at the same time, sorry to back you, Bridget, but we got news for the people as well, you know, because a lot of people think, oh, they'll get around this by chopping off their hand. These people have already thought of that. That's why they're going to be putting them in people's forehead as well.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And then we'll
That's
see
right.
who's prepared to chop off.
Did you know why they're putting it in foreheads and the back of your hands as well?
Yeah.
Because the lithium battery, innit?
Yeah.
It's rechargeable.
Well, you see, when these people was doing this thing, they needed to put it in 2 of the hottest points of the body.
That's right, more susceptible to heat because the heat charges the battery, the lithium,
Right.
You know what I mean? And it will give you a sore. But I mean, the other day I was watching BBC, you know, they got BBC 24 now, right?
Uh-huh.
It was late night. I was watching it, and they had the scientist on where he developed a new mechanism where they implant this beam in the center of your brain, and it takes over all your physical functions. You will find yourself marching down the street, and you don't know how your hands and your feet is moving, right? But they're remote controlling you, you know what I mean? They can send you and go kill off some people. You don't know why you're killing them, why you're stabbing up this man. You know what I mean? They override your brain function.
Well, you see, Bridget, on that, my theory is, let's go back to people like that Ripper man, the one that they named the Ripper up in Yorkshire.
Right.
And the Dunblane shooter that went and killed all them people. My theory is that all of them people then, man, they was experiments.
Most definitely. You see these little kids in America and all around the world committing these atrocities that's unheard of. I mean,
just like that, out of the blue.
They need to create fear. You know what I mean? They rule through chaos, innit?
That's right. Because out of chaos, but you've got the chaos there.
Comes control. Yeah.
Yes, man. For real.
And it's also facilitate one thing. They got that secret agenda. I mean, I said, boy, these conspiracy theorists, they crazy and, you know, it's really far out. But they actually have got the technology and they've had it for, you know what I mean? They say, boy, man, flying from space and all these things. They got Area 51 in Nevada and, I mean, if you check all these things that's going on, bro, I don't say that, well, there's not spaceships or whatever, but how come you never hear about none in Africa or in Jamaica or down Trinidad? They only come to the US and, they only come to the US and England, you know what I mean?
For real. So then, okay, because we've got a lot of young people listening to this and it sounds like there's no hope. So
back to the solution, like I'm saying to these, a lot of these young people, you know what I mean, they get their little change from the dole or whatever. Sometimes the dole is cutting them all off now, right? You need to practice a thing called what my mother used to teach us when we was really young. A penny saved is a penny earned. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. Black man's needs to, it goes back to Marcus Garvey teachings as well, which is saying the black man needs to practice thrift. You know what I mean? You must be practice thrift and keep your values in money. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. You need to save and save and save. Forget the Versace and the Moschino, bruv. Them things, you know what I mean, only here to lead the children off. Okay. You know what I mean? You have to save. Practice thrift. Just use what you necessitate you and your family to survive, to live. You know what I mean? Which is food on the table, basically roof over your head. You know what I mean?
So you don't think it will be better then for the community to save collectively? You don't think, because as
it's going to create confusion. We have tried that before.
So really? Then what about the man that hasn't got nothing? What about the homeless man? I'm sure you know there's enough men that go to the dole and collect a check and they're of no fixed abode. They have no address.
Right.
What about
you see the man that's got nothing?
Yeah.
It's for us really to save for that man. You know what I mean? Okay. We can't really get up and say, well, we have to bring in, because you remember, everybody don't agree with what we're saying here. Some people saying this man is trying to stop me from getting the new Beamer. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This man don't want me to get the best girl in the party, bro. That's what he's doing.
For real.
You get what I'm saying?
For real.
Commissioner. So, you know what I mean? It's going to create confusion. It's like, I don't know if you play football, right? You might get on the pitch with, you got 11 men on each team, right? And the pitch gets torn up. There's a nice pitch about 100 yards off,
yes,
right, to the other side. Nice pitch, and you can't even get these 22 men to collectively move to the other pitch because there's confusion. No, man, I better we stay, man. You know what I mean?
Man wants to do his own thing.
Everybody want to do their own thing, you know what I mean? And some men, they don't even know why they oppose you. They just oppose just to oppose. You know what I mean? Instead of creating all the fiction, because you know what, I ain't got nothing but love for my brother, you know what I'm saying? Nothing but love, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like love is the answer.
For real.
You know what I mean? All this hate, all this war, all this thing is going on. Love conquered all, bruv. You know what I mean? And the greatest thing is love. I ain't talking about, you know what I mean, R&B love or this love they talk about. You know what I mean? I'm talking about real love. Love when you feel for your brother, yeah. We have to say for that man, you know what I mean? It's like right now, I got, you know, the same little lorry thing I was telling you about. Buy a little lorry, 3.5, 4 grand. You know what I mean? Put your equipment. Right now, I'm stacking up a whole studio in there. You know what I mean? I'm a musician. I make music, and that's how I get the message out to the people. You know what I mean? And farming equipment because I need to feed my family and feed myself. Self-sufficiency, right? These are the things I'm doing. When the lorry's leaving, anybody wants to go with me, I will turn no man back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If I got to come back out my pocket again and buy a next truck or buy a little van or, you know what I mean, to make the trade, I ain't turning nobody, but anybody wants to go, bro. You know what I mean?
So, listen, so my brother, listen, tell me something. Tell London. What is there an organisation out there that is collectively representing all black people for repatriation?
That's a big, you know what I mean?
Because
question
many,
right
many,
there.
you see, a lot of people out there, a lot of people believe that the Rasta community was the ones that was dealing with that for black people.
Yeah, the Rasta community lacks organization, I feel.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, they got the right premise. They come the closest, I feel, to achieving it. You know what I mean? Achieving the success for us, because from the longest time that was the way through. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The teachings of His Majesty. Now they lack throughout the years. They have lost their will, the fire. We need young blood. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We need that young fire to burn now, to bring back what. You know what I mean? The older heads have lost.
Well, now, okay. Now, the many people believe, say, that the Nation of Islam is like the young blood. They're the young fire now. They're the ones that's coming with it. But the nation, the nation, as far as I'm aware, are not really addressing the issue of repatriation to Africa.
The Nation of Islam, right? I see the fire that they're burning, right? But you need to check the premise, you know what I mean? They say, how shall you know the false teachers? You shall know them by their fruits, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, their premise, where they come from, Elijah Muhammad teachings is a folly, bro.
Okay. You got the African Hebrew Israelites, okay?
Folly again, bro. Their premise is true, you know what I mean? They are Hebrew Israelites,
yes.
You know what I mean? Without a doubt, and we ain't gonna deny that, you know what I mean? We all are. If you check history, right, and if you check the prophecies and who have fulfilled those prophecies, you know what I mean? Because he told it to Moses, said, Moses, thy children, because of thy disobedience, I shall send thee in the bellies of ships in chains.
Yes.
I shall disperse thee across the four corners of the earth, even the islands of the sea. Now we know which people that is.
Yep.
You don't need binoculars to see that, really.
You don't need
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't even need a brain to work that one out.
Right, it's simple, you know what I mean? And we have been dispersed across the four corners of the earth, even the islands of the sea. But you say, I shall bring again the captivity of Jacob, I shall bring thee into the land that I have promised thy fathers as an inheritance. You know what I mean? So we know that this is what is happening now. You know what I mean? It's bone to his bone. It's like Ezekiel chapter 37, you know what I mean? The valley of the dry bones. When he brought Ezekiel into the spirit,
Hold on,
and brought him...
who am I talking to? Nah, who am I talking to? Stop. You just said what? Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones.
The valley of the dry bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know? Right? And no, you won't know. But for the last 2 weeks, that's all I've heard in my head. Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones.
Have you?
Yeah. For real.
For real.
You know, so yeah, there's a vibes out there, Bridget.
Yeah. That's what's coming. That's what's happening here, man. We're coming together. You know what I mean? Bones to his bone, his flesh to his flesh. You know what I mean?
For real.
And he said, prophesy to them, son of man, and you know the shining shall grow up on it. It's just a spirit. You know what I mean? What's happening? If you check the valley of the dry, because if any black man out there listening to this program, all he needs to do is read that chapter from the start to the finish. That same chapter 37, from start to finish, and he sees his redemption. You know what I mean?
Ezekiel 37.
Ezekiel
because
37.
it's coming like we're the dry bones, you know.
We are the dry bones. All right, the commissioner. When he said to Ezekiel, he took him in. Remember, Ezekiel was a future prophet,
yes.
right? Ezekiel, because even to this day, man, read the book of Ezekiel, and he can't understand nothing he's saying, because he tells you about chariots of fire.
Right.
He tells you about a horde of birds that's giant, that drops things that he described nuclear explosions. He actually described World War II, World War III. He described all these things.
Yep.
In perfect unison, you know what I mean? But he was so futuristic. He was a man that always was taken into the spirit. So he brought him, when the Most High brought him into the valley of the dry bones, and he saw these bones. He asked him, he said, who are these bones, son of man? And he said, I don't know. I don't know who these people are. What's these things? And he said,
you dropped out, caller. 0795-777-5477. The Valley of Dry Bones. Did you hear what the brother said? Ezekiel chapter 37. Read it from start to finish, and you must get some kind of information out of that. It seems as though we are the dry bones. Dry bones, you know, in the sense of we're just here. Man's fighting over our heads. Man's passing laws left, right and center. Man's letting out pedophiles onto the streets, into the communities, to mingle with us and ours. Our little sons and our little daughters. I wonder why. Is this the kind of society that you want to live in? Even some of us, you know, that say, boy, I'm staying in England. Really look at it, you know, examine it. Look at the society that we are in. Look at the kind of things that's going on round about us. Is this how we really want to live? Is this what we really want to bring up our children in? Do you really see your future? You know, do you want to get old? Can you see yourself in a rocking chair sitting down at the end of the day saying, yeah? Let's look at it, you know. Now, if we're not prepared, if we don't run the gauntlet and deal with it, then we haven't got no say. We got two options. Option number one, join a political party or create our own political party. Make change, political change. Change the way our schools are run, change the way we're policed by our police. All week, the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of publicity about the police and Paul and how the police are changing and how corruption's been, you know, dug out and forced out of the community, out of the force. Out of the force, forced out of the force. We have heard some amazing details about police corruption. Every day, someone is on a mortuary slab. Not through natural causes either. Is this the kind of community we want to live in? That's our first option. If it's not, let's go and change it. Let's go and vote. You know what I mean? Now, I'm trying to be middle of the road here, but how many of you voted for Labour and feel sick now? Because if you don't, then you're blind. You're not seeing what's going on. And no, the solution is not to vote for the Conservatives because, boy, we've just had, what, 15, how much years of them? So at the end of the day, either you have your own, or you know, assimilate with those that are there already and try and make change from within. Take the example of some of our MPs. Do you consider that they've made a great change for us, for ours, for our children? Or you can just dig up. You can just go. But mark it well, you know. Wherever you go, change will still have to be made. Are you prepared for that? It's all very well saying, let's go Africa. But change will have to be made. Are we prepared for that change? 0795 777 5477. That's the number that's going to get you through. And I would ask you all to kind of try and persevere, you know, and keep trying. There's, as far as I'm concerned, our phone is Chris. But we've had callers telling us that there's something going on behind the scenes and people are being kind of blocked from getting through to the show. Genesis is used to that. You know what it's about. From the minute that you're talking things that's going to empower the people and help us, and not empower us. I've always said this, you know, and I'm going to say it again. For those that's listening, for those agents that's listening, for those other external organizations that are listening, you'll never come on, you'll never listen to this show and hear nobody. It doesn't matter who's in here. You're not going to hear them talking about overthrowing the Queen and overthrowing the government and picking up arms and storming down Whitehall and going into Parliament. You're not going to hear that. There's no Guy Fawkes around here. See? We deal with the issues that affect us. We deal with the matters that count to us. We talk about and we bring up what affects us and our community. What is relevant to us? And if it happens, which it will, that a lot of these issues are touching the fringes or the borders or sometimes well within the hearts of these organizations, then so be the case, because at the end of the day there's a lot of black people out there, you know, that will tell you all, we are black and part of this community. We've been here since when? We've established our roots. We've made families here. We've had business here. We've contributed to this society in many cases a lot more than any other community has. So we should have the freedom. Not even we should, because it's not a matter of we should. It is our right to discuss whatever we need to discuss from it's affecting our community. And there's nothing out there that is not affecting our community. We talked about IRA, Iran, the war. This affects us, whether you want to accept it or not. But we are affected by this. You heard two of the callers say, it's coming, you know. And the best thing we can do is just get out of the way. I heard, did you hear what Big T said? Saddam called some black soldiers out there, come to bust his head, and he took them to prison and beat the living daylights out of them, and then let them go in the desert naked and told them, go home, this war ain't got nothing to do with you. Huh? Boy, I don't know, you know. What you got to say? 0795-777-5477. What are we going to tell our children and our grandchildren if anyhow they end up worse than how we are now, you know? What we gonna tell them? The children today, some of the children today are losing respect for their elders because they're saying, oh, you lot ain't done nothing. Look how hard it is for us coming up straight after you. You should have made change. And that's today, 98. What's today? 15th of November. And you got youths out there talking that talk, you know. Now, if we don't do nothing, if we don't effect change, if we don't get up and put a plan into practice, what will we say to our children and our children's children's children? It'll be a sad day, you know, if we got to hang down our head in shame. It will be a very sad day. 0795-777-5477. You'll bear with me in a minute. I'll just got to go around the corner. Thanks for your patience. At the same time, you know, on a community level, let's get back kind of regional. We've got to say big up this week and last week to all of the black sisters that attended the Black Women's Business Conference. We've got got some successful sisters out there just caning it. So big up to all of you. We also, you know, on an international level, did you all know now that the whole of the West Indies, Jamaica's just started a talk on the death penalty and wants complete unison agreement with the whole of the West Indies on one death penalty. And they're now in debate and discussion. It seems like they want to take it out of the hands of the Privy Council up here in London and control their own destiny. So they're all getting together and reasoning about that right now. What you all think about that? Huh? The death penalty down there in the West Indies. Tomorrow it could be you or my brother or sister. We get a call saying, boy, they're on death row, you know. 0795 777 5477. In a week, as you heard me say, or maybe you didn't right at the beginning of the show, when we have our Labour MP, again another one has come out and said, yep, at the end of the day, this is what I'm practicing. Does it matter? Did he do a good job regardless of the sodomy that he was involved in? 0795 777 5477. And, you know, sticking again on an international, because we're just bouncing, you know, I'm just going through because you all are having great difficulty getting through, but the show is going to go on. Keep trying. But I'm still bouncing through. Remember this thing called the Truth Commission in the former apartheid state of South Africa. They came together, headed by some eminent persons, to find out the truth of the atrocities of what people done to each other during mainly the final years of apartheid in that region. At the end of the day, now this thing was highly publicized amongst those that appeared and gave evidence were the former wife of Nelson Mandela, Winnie, the former Prime Minister of the apartheid regime, Botha, army officers, various people from both sides, all seeking amnesty, forgiveness. You know the old phrase, in war anything goes. But now we're in peace, let's live in unity. Okay? Can't be a bad thing. Or so we were told. Anyway, this thing ends up with de Klerk. Is it de Klerk? The last one. De Klerk going to court, getting an injunction to stop the publication of the Truth Commission report headed by Bishop Desmond Tutu, because it made him look like he was responsible for assassinations, for sabotage, for enough things. That's why he actually stopped the publication of this until the part that he was aggrieved about was removed. This is the Truth Commission, okay? Maybe enough of you know it, but maybe a lot of you don't. So we're going to talk here still. It was removed from the document. Bam! The ANC decided to do the same thing because they said, no, this report, when it comes out, it's going to make us look bad. And they put in an application to stop the publication of this report. It was turned down, and the report was published, kind of exonerating de Klerk and his mob, but lambasting the ANC. Now we're at a situation where Nelson Mandela's had to come out and say, well, no, you know what, I'm defending the ANC because, boy, and this and that, and if the people's going to date, that's how it was. And look, in fact, I'm a living example. Look how much years I spent in jail personally because of these people. And whatever the white party is called out there is also coming out in arms. So at the end of the day, after hundreds of thousands of rands or pounds were spent, maybe millions because this was televised, after so much media coverage telling us, yeah, look, the people are getting it together now. Do you know what the final assessment is? The two sides are still warring with each other. And they're still saying, no, the other one's to blame. I'm not to blame, the other one is to blame. There's some people that's got some views pretty much like that concerning certain inquiries that's been going on in our community recently. That nothing's going to change at the end of the day. I'm going to take this call, someone's got through. Good morning, caller, you in tune? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, darling.
Yes.
The reason why I phone, I just have a few things to point out to you.
Okay. Can you turn down your radio a bit, sis?
Yes?
Yeah.
Which is, first I must point out to you that if you remember America,
yes,
with wine, with drinks, is black people usually do bootlegging in it.
Okay,
And the white man wouldn't stop burn down them place and beat them up and tell them take over because they couldn't understand why is it that black people have money and them don't give them no job. They don't have any work, so they want to know where they were getting money from. So they start to follow them in the night and see where they were making their bootlegging, which is the rum and whatever you want to call it. It was bootlegging in olden times. Well, what happened is the white man beat them up, burn up them place, take over the drinks. Now today, who is it is controlling drinks? White people.
That's right.
Come back again. Here in England, we the first person started Carnival with Alice Pascal. You remember?
Yeah, it used to be on radio.
Right. What happened? The white man see that, black people was really agonizing together. They kick Alice Pascal out and they take it over, and what they do, they control you at Carnival. There's a few streets you can walk, you can't move about, nothing at all. So what I want to say to you as an old person coming to this country, we black people are being oppressed from day one. And you, the younger head, who's bringing up your children, some of you, I'm not saying all of you, are not curving your children the right and proper way. We follow the English people, and if them see them have whatsoever, what you want to call it, sneakers, into my time they were crep. Do you think I'm an old person is going to take up 125 pound and 35 pound by a stinking thing like a book or what the hell they want to call it now, a sport wear, to give my child to wear?
No way.
They would stay in the shop. Because try remember, if you wear them 2-3 times, you can't keep them in the house. You have to put them outside because they stink up the place. And you young people are spending all these money buying these stinking shoes for your kids. That's spoiling your kids' feet and everything in life. The next thing I'm pointing out to you, take Gandhi for instance. When Gandhi went back to India, what he did, he weave his old cloth, make his salt and what have you. What the white people them did, beat him up, fling him in a prison, do him all kind of things, because they do not want us to unite together. So what I'm saying to you as an older head to a younger head, a lot of you young people want to curve your children that they may keep out of prison because you keep saying young people are in prison. Do you now know why they are in prison? You, the younger head, put them in every style you see. If you have said to them, say, look, what you see John Brown is wearing, this is what I can afford. Satisfied with it until you working, you can buy what you want.
But my sister, now, okay, I hear that, right? But look, there's many people that's gonna say, well, look, you know, you're not of this generation. You don't know what's really going on.
Yeah?
The young people, when they go out to school, everyone's got on £100 pair of trainers, and if my child hasn't got it on, my child gets a kind of stigma attached to them.
Then what you want to say to your child as a parent, you go to school to learn not to wear £1,000 stupidness.
Okay.
Not to wear £100 stupidness. Because at the end of the day, that cannot help you. You hear you talking, your man before someone want to see it. How many young people have £1,000 put away in the bank?
Not many.
Aye. So you see, this is what want to happen. Young people want to take the children and sit down and show them life is not like that. Take a leaf out of Lady Di book. She take her son to Cardboard City to make them know that life is not a bungle of roses.
Yes, yes.
So you see what I'm trying to say to you?
I understand that.
There's a lot of things is around us that we are not looking into as young people. We are only thinking of what we see the other person do. It's not right. And if we keep thinking like that, not me, if you keep thinking like that, then what is the teaching you're giving your child coming up? Because the same thing he's going to give his children. Remember, it's a circle.
But supposing we can't keep up with our children, look, you see, when I was young, all right, we was sitting down Sunday. We sat down and watched black and white television. I can remember when color TV come in. These children nowadays has got the internet. They got video game. They got telly that's got 200 channels on it. How can we compete with that?
So here what happened now. This is what I'm trying to show you now.
Mm-hmm.
When I was here, I couldn't afford a black and white television.
Okay.
I have a radio. Okay. Because where I was coming from, it was a radio fusion.
Okay.
And if you have a radio fusion in your home, everybody from God knows when who cannot afford a radio fusion come and swarm around in the evening or in the morning time after you finish clean up your yard and wash your kids' them clothes and put out to come and listen to radio fusion. Our kids never have time to go lick down people's place and look for thief and what have you, because we were there with them, the old people was there with them, telling them Nancy's story, playing games with them and what have you. We come here, a lot of us, and adopt white people principle, fling our kids out in the street to go and play on their own. It can't work like that. We have to have the control of our kids, and if we the parents do not have the control of our kids, how the hell the government should take control of black people kids that have a different background of teaching and education?
So then, right? You sound like when the Labour government recently was making a strong campaign on children and child law and that. One of the things they kept saying is, at the end of the day, the responsibility is with the parent. If your child does a crime, if your child this or that, the responsibility is with the parent.
Your child shouldn't do a crime from day one. If you bring up your child in the right and proper way, now you're going to know who I have, because I don't tell you my name. Now, when I was bringing up my kids, I wouldn't allow my kids to play with nobody children out in the street. I out there playing with my kids and other people's kids. Anybody know me can tell you. And you see when it touch 7 o'clock, everybody gone to them house. I bring in my kids, bathe them, read stories to them, play games, and put them to their bed.
Okay.
So you see, I try to bring up my kids to tell them, do not allow your kids to mix with people kids. You know what my children themselves to me? Oh, I am old-fashioned and that's not happening anymore. They let the kids to run loose. You know what happened to them kids? Them backside end up blind balls.
So then, all right, I've got little children, all right? They go primary school. Now they come home and they get invitation for parties, other children's birthday parties and them things there.
Yes?
Now, to me, like, because that's what the kind of children's community is about now.
Yes?
And I can't. It's hard for me to say to my child, well, no, you can't go.
No, you do not have to say to your child that you can't go. You take your child and keep an eye on your child.
Okay.
You take your child with you. Spare time and go with your child. Then when anything goes wrong, you know that your child wasn't in it.
Okay. So more of us need to be doing that.
Of course. But we said don't allow them to go sleep at Tom Jones' house. We allow them, hear them alone. What the hell do you know what's going on when they're gone through the door on their own? Let's be fair. You cannot say as a parent, no, my child did not do that.
But at the same time, are you going to tell me, sis, when you was building up your children,
I was a different humble sweetheart.
Didn't you used to leave your children, like, you know, with a friend or something? Like one night you wanted to go out and have a good time?
Baby, anybody know me will tell you. Anywhere I'm going, my child is my handbag.
Okay.
If we're going to the toilet, that hang on my skirt.
Okay.
If I'm going to bed, they are there with me, sweetheart.
And
I didn't leave my kids with nobody.
And your children, and so then I'm going to ask you then, as a result, your children now, they're obviously big people.
Yes.
And they've never make you have to hang down your head in shame.
Yes, they do. This is what I'm trying to say to you. They did not listen to me.
Okay.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Okay.
2 of them, I can point them out. They're a boy and a girl. Their children are excellent. They don't eat shit. One of them has a 15-year-old boy. He can't go nowhere unless she knows where he's going.
Okay.
The son, my eldest son, his children don't come out on sight.
Okay.
Anywhere they're going, he makes sure that he's there. So you see, sweetheart, parents have to take a great, I don't care what nobody wants to say, at the end of the day, is what you teach your child, is what your child left home with to germinate on.
And it seems like what you're saying is how much time you spend with your child. Okay, my sister, I hear that. Now, I'm sure you heard the previous callers and what we're talking about. In terms of the war was lingering, you know, in
around us.
What, you know, as an elder person, I'm asking your advice now. What you heard what was said. A man saying, boy, it's best that we just move out of the way and just leave this place, sell everything you got and go. What is your advice to us, the younger ones?
My advice to you, the younger one, try and save on the money the best way you can, because at the end of the day, don't care which part of the world you go, you need capital. So the Indian them come here, you know why the Indian them have business and the government couldn't stop them? They come here with them capital, and this is what the country needs. And anywhere in the world you're going, you don't want stereo, you don't want jewel, you don't want BMW, you don't want this, because anywhere you go, the same thing is there.
That's right.
So if you have your capital to invest, wherever the part of the world you go, then you can buy all the jewelry you want, all the BMW you want, all the diamond you want, everything you think of, you can buy, because you invest the capital to take with you to invest it more and live comfortable.
Okay, my next question now is, people like yourself, our bigger people in the community, you all are sitting on gold mines, you all have got money stashed everywhere, and you're investing it in the younger community. Why?
For a start, the younger community do not take time to creep. In life, whatever you are doing, you have to creep before you can walk. And you young people, if you're going to something and it is not flourishing by next year, then you say you can't bother.
So you're saying that's why our elder community haven't invested in our young community.
Yes, because you people do not show us that you can take the pressure.
Oh, come on.
In life, there is pressure. Don't care how you take it.
But
There
don't
is
you
pressure.
believe that we've kind of proved ourselves? We've come through a lot, you know. Remember, we as young people, we came through SUS. We came through when they gave laws to people, and enough of us come from broken families. We came through abuse at school. When I was going to school, we used to get the cane, and many parents used to tell the headmaster, lick up my child if they're rude, give them the cane.
You know why that happened?
Why?
Because where we were coming from as a black person, respect our teacher and believe in our teacher. But when we come here, a lot of us didn't take time to know that these people who was busting your child off was army people.
Okay. But
So you put your child's life in their hands.
That's right.
Which was wrong.
So then, okay, now we've come through all of that. But yet you're telling me that we still need to prove ourselves after having come through all of them things.
Of course, it's all right. You know what you're saying? Let me show you a point. Let's say, for instance, about 10 of us old people give you £10,000, and we sit back and say, well, look, we want you to work this £10,000 that we can even get £200 back from it.
Okay.
Right. At the end of the year, before we get £200 back from it, you waste the £10,000, and you still want it to